The first thing we're going to want to do to start editing 3D models in Unreal Engine 5 is change our mode to modeling. Now you can also hit the Shift F5 hotkey to bring us to the modeling mode, but either way it's fine. Now there is a lot to this tool, as with most things in Unreal Engine 5, and we will only be talking about a few of them today to keep it at a beginner level. Now we will only be talking about two of these tools today that will be the most used for beginners like us. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Deform and Modeling tool. What the polycut allows us to do is actually draw a shape in an object and cut through or around it, essentially. So here you can see we've cut a circle through. I don't know why it was on custom. And we can do other presets like a square, rectangle, or rounded rectangle. But I think the custom tool is super interesting, and we also have different operations at the top here. So you can see we have to trim the outside, inside, and insert polygon. But we also have this draw polygon option. Now I'm going to change my perspective to top, hit F to go to my object I have selected, and draw a shape. And I'm just doing this by clicking, and then I'm going to go to insert and cut through. Now on my perspective, I'm going to go back, and you can see we drew a perfect triangle where we were trying to, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Now what else we can do with this tool is go to our mirroring button. Oh, selected the wrong cube there. We can go to mirroring. We can actually do exactly what it says and mirror the object in different directions of symmetry to the object. And it attaches it to the mesh itself, so it becomes part of the object, which is pretty neat, pretty cool for creating quick new objects out of other objects. Now we also have the plane cut, which allows you to divide an object based on basically a plane, and we can move its position around with these, or by dragging it via the box. We can also actually rotate it to create different shapes that way. So we're creating a very interesting slanted object here that would be hard to create with just squares and triangles. So it's an interesting tool to create shapes that would otherwise be a little bit difficult to create. So we can also flip the plane if we want the bottom or the half, and then we can cut it. Now if we wanted to, we could subdivide this object, and this is mostly a Blender tool. I'm not too familiar with how subdivide works, so I won't talk about it very much, but you can generally see what it would do to the object by changing the actual subdivision level, and then seeing if you wanted smooth corners or sharp corners. Let's go ahead and take a look at our meshing tool, or our deforming tool, which I think a lot of people will be interested in. This is one of the main tools that is used in Blender, and you actually see a lot of the same brush options as in Blender. One of the main ones I like to play with is the Sculpt Normal, and that lets you, it's basically like the clay brush inside of Blender. So this is an interesting addition into Unreal 5. It kind of lets you easily edit and change 3D models inside Unreal for simple things that you can do easily. If you've ever tried transferring files back and forth between Blender and Unreal, you know that's a huge hassle. So this is a welcome addition to my toolkit. Now you also have your other tools you normally see, like smooth and pinch, inflate, flatten, all the typical things. And I am not a 3D modeler, so I won't tell you how the best way to use these tools is. You'll need to check somebody else for that one. Now we also have preset tools, like we can smooth the object, or we can warp it, we can displace it. That actually looks really cool. And then we also have the displacement type. Perlin noise is pretty standard. But those are pretty much the main tools you will want to know how to use. For instance, you could use this plane cut to take a chair and make it into a stool by cutting the back off or something like that. Now, these bake and UV tools are very important, but I don't know much about them yet, so I will have to come back and make another video once I'm more familiar and knowledgeable on these subjects. But they don't really have anything to do with editing how the mesh physically looks. I think they mostly have to do with how the mesh maps textures. Anyways, I think that brings us to the end of the video at this point. If you guys are able to follow along and edit your 3D models in Unreal Engine 5, hopefully I have earned your like, comment, or subscription today. Alternatively, we also do have a Patreon if that's more your thing. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next video.